Hey everyone, welcome back to Mike's Monsters and my review of Nosferatu from 2024. It is written and directed by Robert Eggers. I was able to see an advanced screening of this film on December 2nd with my girlfriend Chelsea at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica, thanks to American Cinematheque and Beyond Fest, who put on a lot of early screenings and just awesome screenings in general. These early showings are always a blast, and the crowd is always buzzing with excitement because it's usually an early screening or something fun like a Q&A or anything involved with the film, but this was just a straight up early screening of the film, and we got to see it pretty much a month early. We were also incredibly lucky because the two people behind us, they were the last people to get tickets before the line was cut off, and the line for this movie was massive. It went around the block a few times. We're not members, so we just got the general admission, and we were lucky to even get in because the members line was insanely long. I've never seen a line so long for a advanced screening through American Cinematheque or Beyond Fest. This was clearly one of the most anticipated movies of the year, and it was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. If you want to hear Chelsea's review, check out Horror Babe Show. I'll link it below. She has a great channel that talks about horror movies, interviews with directors, and her own opinions on how things go in the horror genre and all these other things. I really recommend checking her out. She's got a really fun channel. Chelsea and I also gave the original silent film from 1922 a watch before we saw this one, and we were very glad we did. It gave us a lot of insight on what Eggers pulled for inspiration and much more for this new 2024 adaptation. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is a love letter to the 1922 film while standing on its own as a masterpiece. Eggers is a lifelong fan of the Nosferatu film from 1922. He saw it at a very young age, and in his high school years, he put on a stage play that he directed and also designed the sets for. So this film that he's made now is almost like a full circle situation for him as a director. It's like he was born to make this movie. And it shows. Every frame feels intentional, layered, and masterfully crafted. The setup for Nosferatu 2024 stays true to the familiar beats of the classic tale. Thomas and Ellen Hutter, played by Nicholas Hoult and Lily Rose Depp, are a young couple living in 19th century Wisburg, Germany. Their lives are upended when Thomas, a real estate agent, is sent by his peculiar boss, Herr Knock, played by Simon McBurney, to the remote Transylvanian castle of Count Orlok, played incredibly by Bill Skarsgård. If you've ever seen a version of Nosferatu or even a Dracula adaptation, this story will feel very recognizable, and it originated as an unauthorized take on Bram Stoker's novel. But what sets Eggers' remake apart is the significant shift in perspective, reframing the story in a way that feels fresh and untethered from its predecessors. It's not just a retelling, it's a bold reinterpretation. Eggers' direction here is unmatched. I think this might be his best film. The film is tightly paced, avoiding the usual critique of his beautiful but slow vibe in his films. Instead, this film builds dread steadily, culminating in a finale that is just absolutely chilling. That final shot is incredible. It's so satisfying. The cast is phenomenal across the board. Lily Rose Depp delivers an incredible performance, full of nuance and extreme intensity. Willem Dafoe steals every scene that he's in, which is really no surprise there, and Nicholas Hoult shines amidst the terror that's growing around him. Even Aaron Taylor-Johnson, someone I'm not entirely a fan of sometimes, surprised me with his performance here, and the rest of the cast brings their A-game as well. But let's talk about Bill Skarsgård in the role of the titular vampire, Nosferatu, or also known as Count Orlok. He's unrecognizable, which you'll probably hear in every single review you watch or read of this film. Not just in appearance, but in voice and mannerisms. His Count Orlok is eerie, unsettling, with incredible voice work and breathing sounds that genuinely got under my skin. He's creepy but never veers into caricature, making him an excellent reinterpretation of the character, and never feeling like an exact copy of Max Schreck's iconic performance from the 1922 film, but you can see where they pulled inspiration from it. Though I will say he was very creepy, but he was never scary to me. And that's not a bad thing. That's not exactly what this movie was going for, though this movie might scare the crap out of some people. The production design is impeccable, capturing the gothic atmosphere with stunning detail. The cinematography by D.P. Jaran Blaschke and the lighting are absolutely top-notch, using shadow work to play homage to the original film, but never copying it, just like Bill Skarsgård's performance, not copying Max Schreck's. There are some scenes and shots that are just still stuck in my mind, like one where Nicholas Holt's character Hutter is walking down a dark, snowy path in the woods, while a carriage approaches him. The light illuminating the snow and the framing of how he was set in the shot are still just bouncing around in my brain. Or a very intense scene where the sun is setting behind Nicholas Hoult's character Hutter as he's debating on doing something drastic while a certain vampire is asleep in a coffin in front of him. The sun just going down while the music is rising was so exciting and quite epic. I loved that stuff. Though there is one shot in particular that I think is my favorite, and without going into detail, it involves Orlok's hand and the city that the movie is based in. I just loved the way they executed that. One of the aspects I love the most is that the nighttime scenes were shot in a more monochromatic blue tone that often at times felt like it was a black and white picture, which just also felt like it was a callback to the original. And the nighttime scenes are lit immaculately. The sound design and the beautiful score by Robin Corrin complement the visuals perfectly, adding to the film's tension and otherworldly vibe. Together they create an immersive experience that feels timeless. And the sound design around Orlok was absolutely incredible and often disturbing at times. If you've seen the original 1922 Nosferatu, then you're familiar with this movie's plot and its beats. And if you haven't, I highly recommend checking it out if you can sit through a silent film. But this Nosferatu is more fleshed out than the 1922 predecessor, with a love triangle that feels emotionally impactful. It starts out with a bang and slowly has a growing sense of dread throughout the film that kept me hooked. And by the time we reach the haunting final shot, it's clear that this film will stick with audiences. Though it may not be for everyone, it certainly worked for me. And I'm also not into jump scares in my horror films, but the way this film implemented them worked really well, and it just fit the vibe of the film. And they were quite perfect in my opinion. Interestingly, the movie also doubles as a Christmas film, with it being set at Christmas time and the wintry aesthetic throughout. I could see myself revisiting it during the holiday season if I'm looking for more horror-themed viewing rather than a traditional holiday film. It's visually stunning, deeply atmospheric, and anchored by incredible performances. While horror tends to be overlooked during awards season, I genuinely believe that this movie deserves all the nominations across the board. I'm honestly really struggling to find anything negative to say about this film. And like I said, it might not be for everyone, but it ripped so hard. It ripped your throat out at times. It was gory, it was violent, it was very sexy at times, and there was a lot of very intense imagery and settings throughout the film, many that are just still stuck with me. This feels like a complete package, the kind of film we don't see enough of these days. I highly recommend you see it in the theaters if you can, not just because it's a great theatrical experience, but because supporting this film will allow more films like it to get made in the future, and more weird, wild, out there films like this are what I think Hollywood needs right now. Eggers really delivered with this one, and I'm going to be thinking about it for a very, very long time. Nosferatu comes out in theaters on December 25th, Christmas Day, and I highly recommend checking it out. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like, subscribe if you enjoyed it as well, comment below if you've seen the movie or if you're excited to see it, and if you've seen the original films. I personally haven't seen the one that Werner Herzog directed, and I'm probably going to check it out very soon. I really loved this movie, and I want to know what you think about it too. All of my socials are linked below if you want to follow along with my toy photography, my regular photography as well. I have a lot of fun reviews coming out in the future. I'm currently working on the new Godzilla Evolved figure from SH Monster Arts, a review and toy photography of this guy. I also have some alien blind boxes that I'll be sharing as well too from Super 7. I've got a lot of stuff coming out for this channel in the next coming weeks, months, year. It's going to be an exciting 2025. I thank you for all of your support. Thank you so much for watching Mike's Monsters. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.